Yo, what is going on, you guys? So today I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, I'm just going to be giving you guys my honest thoughts about the future of the sports card market and where exactly I personally see the sports card market going. I know the sports card market has not really gone through a recession in the past, and currently we are kind of in a recession. I think that's pretty apparent. And the overall economy is shrinking. So a lot of people have the question, and I'm getting DMs all the time, like, where do you see the sports card market going? Do you think it can survive the recession, first of all? And then, what do you see the future being like? So I definitely wanted to touch upon those in today's episode. So essentially, my biggest thing, and I know I've been talking to you guys about this a lot, but I truly believe that Fanatics is going to open up the doors for the mainstream. And that's going to be interesting in multiple ways. Now, I know there's a lot of higher pop cards that are really suffering right now. And I'm not saying those are the best investments because I don't think they are. But a lot of the higher pop cards, I think in the long term, demand will be able to meet supply again. And that is simply because if you guys do any research about Fanatics, Michael Rubin, all of the work that they've done in the past in sports memorabilia and, just sports licenses in general, they have been incredibly innovative. They've been, developed such a huge fan base of pretty much like all sports fans around the globe. And that is honestly not even, an exaggeration, because if you look at Fanatics, they're worth $20+ billion. And they're building a lot of infrastructure in the sports card space. I heard they're trying to buy out a lot of bigger companies in the space. So there's a lot that's going to be in control of Fanatics. So I definitely think, Michael Rubin, of course, who is the CEO or the founder of Fanatics, he sold off his stake in the Philadelphia 76ers because it was in conflict with the sports card business. So there's just a lot of groundwork that has already been kind of put down that's going to allow Fanatics to really start marketing sports cards. And if you guys don't know, I'm quite positive that what they are doing is they are giving players and teams incentives in terms of the sports card space. So cards that sell of, Steph Curry, for example, he's going to get a little profit share. And that goes with, all NBA teams. So there's definitely going to be a lot more players who I think become a lot more aware of sports cards. And I just overall think it's going to become a very mainstream market. Now, what happens with that? That's going to kind of bring a little bit of a question, because at the end of the day, with lower pop cards, for example, like a LeBron James Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 10, which is such a sought after card, and of such a sought after player, right? And if there are only like 200 of those, right? And sports cards truly become huge, I see incredible opportunity in cards like that. Staple investments of staple players, with lower pops, I think are going to do incredible in the long term. And I think right now, poses an incredible opportunity in terms of buying those for a steep discount of where we've already seen them go in the past. And I think right now we're just seeing so many hit the market. We're seeing so many incredible low pop cards hit the market that weren't really hitting the market, a year ago. And so what that's causing is an incredible buying opportunity, because when there's so much demand all of a sudden, as cards circulate and sell to a new owner. For example, if I'm buying a LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 10 right now, chances are I'm not going to be selling it very soon. So what's happening is cards are going from panic sellers to long-term buyers. And that causes the supply to go down, because now those long-term buyers are not going to be posting those cards for sale. So I think we're really starting to see supply dry up a little bit. If you guys have looked at the last two, like Alt and PWCC auctions, at least Alt, I've definitely seen that a little bit less cards are starting to come up. And I think it's because a lot of those cards, that were low pop and we never saw, those have kind of already sold in the last 2-3 months, where people have been really dumping their cards. So now we're kind of reaching a point where cards are getting into the hands of the right people who are willing to hold it long term. And when we continue to see that, supply is going down. I call it ongoing supply. So that is, of course you have a certain supply of the card that is going to be set, but when more people are selling the cards, ongoing supply is higher, so there has to be higher demand for prices to keep up. Now, when supply goes back down, ongoing supply goes back down, and people are holding on to their cards more, now all of a sudden prices start to stabilize, and if demand stays the same, prices can even go up. And so we're already seeing in terms of other economies, I guess crypto has really started to pick up again in the last week or so. Stocks are starting to pick up a little bit again. So I think, people might be kind of underestimating how fast stuff crashed and how fast stuff can come back. And when stuff crashes so fast, it can recover a little bit faster as well. It's not like we had a steady decline in crypto, sports cards, and the economy, but it's been quite fast, right? And so I think the recovery could be a little bit faster. I'm not saying it's going to recover fully right away, but I definitely think we're going to start seeing prices go up a little bit. I'm starting to sense it. And I think overall, for the long-term aspect of the sports card market, we're in great hands with Fanatics. I know it is controversial. A lot of people, want to see sports cards remain to the real collectors, and I totally understand that. There's going to be a lot of people in the comment section claiming that Fanatics is going to make sports cards a business more than a collector's, universe. But I definitely think in terms of prices, if you're looking at it from a strictly investment perspective, I think prices are set to do very well in the long term. I'm personally a believer. I know there's a lot of people thinking that sports cards might not survive the recession and everything, but if I look at it my way, crypto and stocks, in my opinion, have crashed quite harder than the staple sports card investments. Some cryptos have crashed up to 90%, and if not more than 90%, right? Even the most safe cryptos, such as Bitcoin, have crashed more than 66%. And if we look at the safer sports cards, such as MJ Fleers, LeBron Topps Chromes, yes, from their all-time highs, they might be down that much, but since the recession started, they're not getting hit as hard as I think a lot of people expected them to. And so I definitely think there's still a very solid, investment market right now, in terms of people who are staying in it for the long term. And I think we're just going to keep building off of that. And so I definitely think, now moving on to a more important topic, like how do I take advantage? If you believe what I believe, right? And you think sports cards are really going to grow in the long term, and now is a great opportunity to buy in. Now, which cards do you go after? And so the last thing you want to happen is for sports cards to bounce back 60%, prices are all up, but the card that you bought is not going up. And I look at that with, there are a couple reasons that could happen. One is the population is too incredibly high that there's so many sellers. Two, your player gets injured or your player doesn't pan out. If you're buying young players, you also hold that risk. And so what I'm personally doing is going for cards that have already crashed significantly but still remain relevant. And I look at a lot of Kobe cards. I look at a lot of LeBron cards. I look at a lot of MJ cards. And I start to see some incredible opportunity in a lot of those cards. And I personally love LeBron and Steph the most, and KD. And that is simply because they're still playing and they still have that hype factor on top of everything. So on top of prices being down significantly, demand being very hot, you have the opportunity for these players to continue to win championships, as we saw Steph just do, continue to build on their legacy. And I think it's a lot of the time after a player retires to where they truly get their flowers, right? Where they truly get recognized and gain their significance in the history books, right? So I'm definitely a buyer for Kevin Durant cards, especially because if he does get traded, or when he does get traded, right? He could be landing in a contender, chance to go for a third championship, third finals MVP. I think that's going to be huge for his legacy. And his prices are really, really low right now. I mean, his Topps Chrome Refractor was, I believe, a $60,000 card at one point in a PSA 10. Super low pop on that card. It's actually numbered, I believe, 500. And it's currently down at 9,000, right? I think one ended on alt for 7,750, I'm pretty sure. So prices are really suffering on a lot of those cards, and I think it's just a matter of time, between the NBA offseason, things are slow, the recession, things are slow. It's just a great time overall to be buying these things up. And so I'm personally a buyer in a few of those cards. If you do want a full analysis, I do have my weekly reports where I give out picks of exactly which cards to buy each and every week. But I definitely think, now stands one of the best buying opportunities that we've seen across the whole economy. And if you look at more of an outlooked graph on the whole economy, each and every time it's dipped, it's come back and come back stronger, right? So unless this is going to be the first time in hundreds of years where the whole economy doesn't recover, I think we're all in pretty good shape. And if you do have the money to invest, it's the time to do it, in my opinion, right? We've already seen things bottom out, I believe, at least for most things, right? We've seen stuff bottom out, and we're starting to see stuff go back again in the positive direction. So I definitely think now is the time to be buying up sports cards, stocks, crypto, whatever it is you believe in. I'm personally an incredible believer in sports cards, and not only because of Fanatics, but I just think the amount of sports fans that know about this and are in, the business world, I think we've just scratched the surface in terms of popularity in sports cards. And I think when Fanatics comes in, we're going to see that all change, and we're going to see it become very, very mainstream. A lot of bigger investors, bigger institutional money come into the market. So if you guys want my opinion, that is my opinion on the sports card market. But I know this is an open-ended question. There's going to be people who don't agree with me. There's going to be people who agree with me. So drop down in the comment section below what your outlook is on the sports card market, whether you're buying, whether you're holding, whether you're selling. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. And other than that, I'm out. Peace.